Hi, I'm Lily, and I realized that we are in great need of some more terrain for our tabletop games, especially now when the ninth edition just went live. Better late than never, right? Anyways, I drew a messy sketch on how I wanted it to look, and then I tried making a template. I really tried. Okay, I guess that really wasn't my strong suit. So I went straight to crafting instead. I'm using 10mm thick foam board for this project, and I'm going for a simple, ruined building look. Something that anyone would be able to make themselves. And I hope this will give you some ideas to what you would want your own homemade and awesome terrain to look like. I start by marking out how tall I want the two-story building to be and cutting the general shape of it. Also marking out exactly where I want the broken off floor to be connected to the walls. My plan is to make this as sturdy as possible, so even bigger minis can jump up there without risking a scary fall. It will be 8 centimeters from the bottom floor to the second one, or just over 3 inches. This way your models won't lose unit coherency, at least not in Warhammer 40k games. I decided to add windows to one of the walls, wanting to try out the new changes to terrain rules in 9th edition. This ruin will be an obscuring terrain piece, so, for example, if one army has a unit on one side of it, and the other army has a unit on the other side, they won't be able to shoot each other even if they theoretically would be able to see each other through the windows. Unless, of course, they would be positioned so that you can draw a line between the two units outside the building. But keep in mind that even though this ruin will have sloped walls and sometimes you theoretically could draw a line of sight between the armies, the entire terrain piece will be considered to be equally tall all over as it is on its tallest point. However, if we on one side would have an aircraft or a model with more than 18 wounds, they would always be possible to be targeted even through the obscured terrain. But they won't be able to shoot back. If any model would be standing on the obscured terrain or be in contact with it, then that's a totally different story. But let's get into that later, shall we? At this point, I'll admit, it doesn't look like much yet, but I'm glad to see what I had imagined is slowly, very slowly, taking shape. Since I wanted this terrain piece to be as sturdy as possible, I decided to use foam board for the bottom floor as well. If you would prefer not to have such a thick floor, you can use a thinner material as base. You can also have it stick out a little bit on all the sides. Personally, I prefer when a building is just a building, instead of a building with half a sidewalk. But like I said, that is a personal preference. And I know that due to the phrasing on some tabletop rules, you do want it to stick out a bit extra sometimes. I was a little concerned that the paint wouldn't stick very well to the foam board since I hadn't tested this before, so I decided to carefully peel the outer layer off to get more of a cement look on the finished piece. Don't worry, you'll know what I mean soon. This part took an amazingly long time to do, so I'm not recommending anyone else to do this unless you really like the cement look. It's finally starting to look like a building! I wanted to be able to make a second terrain piece at roughly the same size but with a different style. So after some tampering, I managed to have a usable template ready. This template is available for you to download if you would like to use it yourself. I'll make sure to leave you the link for it in the description below. Creating this second ruin while using a template was so much easier than just winging it, like I normally do. Perhaps I should use templates more often. Like I said, I wanted this piece to have roughly the same size, but with a completely different look. So I made sure to break off parts here and there and make cracks. I'm giving both the ruins a nice base color, but then of course I realized I wanted to add some details to them. It is probably a good thing to spray a base layer of paint before adding details though, to avoid having issues reaching everywhere afterwards. Or perhaps I'm the only one worrying about that. By the way, the paint seems to stick equally well to both pieces. Anyways, back to the workbench and let the imagination run free. I'm using some leftover stuff for this, cardboard, parts of foam board, thicker paper and more cardboard, cutting them in different shapes and sizes. I wanted to keep the first piece pretty simple, so I'm just adding some rocks and gravel on this one. If you're playing with 9th edition terrain rules, it is a good idea to use some more items the units can hide behind, because if there is a unit hiding inside an obscuring terrain piece, they can target and be targeted with normal line of sight rules. Time for some base color! Again! I am a complete newbie when it comes to airbrushing and still have a lot to learn. But I got this amazing airbrush for my birthday and I really need to stop being so scared of using it. So I figured I'd use it for details on the terrain pieces. You know, I gotta start somewhere. Don't worry though, if you don't have an airbrush, you can absolutely paint it by hand. It just goes a lot quicker this way. I also did some dry brushing afterwards to really get the colors I wanted on everything and to make the details pop a little extra. We tested out both the terrain pieces in a small game and I couldn't be happier on how they turned out for being my first try on terrain pieces this big.
This looks very menacing. You look so happy.
Yeah. He likes the house. This is the end result, and I really hope that you've gotten inspired to make your own terrain. Don't forget that you can download the template I used in this video via the link in the description. And if you enjoyed this video, you're in luck, because many more crafting videos and battle reports are on the way. So please remember to subscribe and activate notifications so you don't miss out on upcoming and inspiring crafting and fighting videos. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.